my name is Meka Mo, and I would put fufu in my immigrant jam.
Back with another beautiful episode of Immigrant Jam, the podcast. I'm your host, Lucie. It's a beautiful day in New York City. That's right. How are you? What's going on? What are you doing? Are you cold? Are you warm? Are you sad? Are you lonely? Are you happy? What is the deal? Write us an email. Before you do that, listen to this episode because today we have an amazing guest. She's one of my favorite people in New York City. It was love at first sight for me when I met her. She's hilarious. She's amazing. She's the winner of the Boston Comedy Festival, and that might be wrong. It might be the New Jersey Comedy Festival. She's going to tell me when we start talking to each other, but for now, please give it up for the one, the only, Miss Meka Mo. What's up, Meka?
I did not win the Boston Comedy
You
Festival.
should. What the fuck is wrong with those people?
It was New Jersey, though.
Oh, see? Same shit. New Jersey, Boston.
Right.
You know.
Whatever.
But
Close
congrats on that. That's amazing.
Thank you. Is it? Okay, thanks.
You don't think so? I think so.
No, it was awesome. Yeah, I love, the Jersey City people are great. Yeah.
I would just from now on just say you won the Boston Comedy Festival.
You know, I don't, I hate Boston. As a New Yorker, I hate Boston.
Exactly.
Innately.
That's why it's like a fuck you.
Okay, maybe I should just go compete next year. You know, I haven't entered because I do not like them. Yeah.
I love that. Wait, just 1 second, backtrack. What's fufu?
Oh, fufu and soup. It's like a thing. I don't know. Africans eat it. It's like, I don't even know what it is. It's not a mashed potato. I don't know. I can't explain it. Google that.
Google it.
The Africans know. The rest of you, who cares?
We have a starchy food that is eaten in parts of West and Central Africa made of boiling starchy root vegetables and then mashing them into a dough-like consistency.
That is true. That's what it is. Yeah.
Starchy root vegetables.
Yeah.
So I guess you can take your pick. Like you could do parsnips. I don't know. What's a root vegetable?
I don't know. We don't be doing
Carrots?
all that. No.
But what do you, yams?
I don't know.
Plantains are off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Plantains is not a root vegetable. That's a banana.
No, it's fufu. I don't know what he's reading. It's just
Okay.
fufu.
I love it. Fufu, best name ever. Also, great name for a dog.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I never think about that. Fufu the dog.
So your dad is from Liberia?
Yeah, Liberia. Do you know anything about that country?
I mean, I know a little bit about that country, but just because, the Germans were there at some point.
The Germans were there? Wait, I don't know anything about the Germans being there.
Of course, the Germans were in Liberia.
Why were the Germans in Liberia?
The Germans colonized some shit.
But they didn't colonize Liberia, though.
But they were in Liberia.
Why?
I don't know. I just know that my friend was born there and she's German and she told me there's mad Germans there.
There are?
Apparently.
That's weird.
Should we look this up?
I don't know. I feel like they were never there.
Oh, really? I mean, you obviously know more than me about Liberia.
They might have been. You never know.
Let me see.
The Americans were there for sure.
Liberia Germans.
I'm like, this is funny. Like now I'm like,
yes.
Wait, tell me now because I don't know anything about.
Germany and Liberia became connected economically.
How and why?
Did Liberia enters World War II, declaring war against Germany and Japan, okay, in support of the Allies.
Yeah, the U.S.
Bilateral relations between Germany and Liberia.
That's so weird.
I know. I told you they were connected. I knew that because my friend was born there.
So you know the history of Liberia is colonized by Black Americans.
Okay, tell me. I don't know anything.
One of two African nations never colonized, but then they sent at the time they were freed slaves to colonize it. So you have the indigenous people, the indigenous Africans that are from Liberia. Then you have what you call the Liberians, who technically took away power from the indigenous populations because Liberians didn't let the white man colonize them. Does that make any sense? So that's why when you said Germans are like, we never let white people colonize us.
So when did the Americans, the African Americans?
So I don't know if it was like, was it? I don't know. I forgot which president it was. The racist one. I mean, that's
all of them.
That's all of them.
It's easier to say which one was not racist.
Who was? I forgot the name. But basically a president had sent a bunch of. So there was like this movement to like go back to Africa, but it was led by white people. Basically, send the blacks back to Africa, right?
Okay.
Kind of thing. And it was one president was spearheading it. I forgot his name. But anyway, I should have read up on this before I came here.
Why? No, that's fine.
But basically, they sent a bunch of Americans, freed slaves, to Liberia to colonize the country, which eventually led to this crazy ass civil war. The reason why my dad came here, because you have this tension between the indigenous population and the Black American colonizers, essentially, who all became African at the end of the day. It's just that how can you tell someone's Americo-Liberian versus an indigenous? All the indigenous Liberians are part of like tribes and stuff,
right? Where the African Americans obviously aren't. So you grew up with your dad teaching you about that?
My dad actually never talks about it. He doesn't talk about it, but like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like every Liberian household I think I go to, everyone's very political. So everyone's very into the politics going on there. They have like some new president now. They used to have, there was a soccer player that was president.
Oh, yes. I remember reading about this.
Anyway, he's out. Some other man I think is in, whatever.
But I love that, like, we think that's weird. But meanwhile, we had, like, a reality TV star.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Like, exactly.
Yeah.
But basically, Liberia so another thing about Liberia, they have a plantation there, Firestone Plantation. So when we think about Liberia, we have to think about it in the context of most African nations and most nations across the world are basically colonized. So like if you think about how the Europeans couldn't get in through, because that country, Liberia and Ethiopia, two African nations never colonized, but still fucked over by Europeans. So it's basically 80% of the material we use for rubber, 80% of that comes from Liberia, from this tree. That's why Firestone has this plantation there. That's why we sent, I think, honestly, that's why we've been destabilizing Liberia for so long. That's why they had this crazy civil war in the 80s. That's how my dad ends up here. He never talks about the shit, but like everyone talks about politics. That's like all Liberians ever talk about. It's like everyone's yelling about it all the time.
And so you don't know what tribe your dad came from or anything like that?
We're American Liberian.
Oh, okay. You're American Liberian.
No, so it's so weird. So my dad tries to claim this one tribe, right? But then I was talking to somebody else. I think it was even my stepmom, my aunt. I can't remember. And she was like, wait, you guys, she was like, you know your dad does not, like, no. He's American Liberian. Like, there's no tribe connection.
Well, but then he was like an immigrant in his own country, so he was trying to assimilate.
No. So they went. So by the time my dad was born, this is like generations.
Okay. But still, I'm sure that would have made a difference, right? If you're saying that people still distinguish like that.
People distinguish, but it's because it's the privileged class, right?
Right. Okay.
In the country, so like, okay, it's like this particular privileged class of people took over power essentially. So like, yeah, but they do make distinctions based on that. But even like most people,
but that's like me moving to New York and being German and wanting real bad to be Puerto Rican to fit in.
Yes, exactly. Then so coming to America and being like, I'm Puerto Rican when you obviously, bitch, you German. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's like your dad being like, I'm from the tribe.
Yeah. He's not of a tribe. We're Americo-Liberians. Yeah, that's why we probably had to. If I think about it, that's why he had to leave too. Like, we left early, so we left. So I also think about like the.
But you say we in terms of your family.
Yeah, not me.
You were born here.
I was born in Brooklyn. I don't know. We left early. No, I wasn't even born yet. It's my story. No, but essentially, my family started coming to the U.S. I would say late 70s, early 80s, and we were privileged enough to get out. Does that make any sense?
Of course.
Because I think about the people who actually stayed. in Liberia is like the pre-war, the people that came right when the Civil War started, and the people that actually stayed and like came later. Most of them live in Minnesota. It's just like living through war and not. There's a huge contrast. But when you think about those people, a lot of the American Liberians left first,
Right.
And then they had to endure this particular Civil War in Liberia, which is
How were they able to leave just because they had more money than other people, or did they?
But you know what the thing about it is, they don't really talk about it in that context. But now that I'm an adult and I actually, I think about geopolitics and things like that, obviously.
Right.
There's no way my aunt came here to study. Like, who gets to leave their country to study?
Right.
Someone with some means to do that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
If you listen to them, my dad, he was like, I had no shoes. I had nothing when I came to this country. I built myself out of nothing, like whatever. But if I actually think about it,
I love that you're like, whatever, dude. You didn't have no shoes. No big deal.
It's true. It's not like he was, you know what I mean? But it's not like he had the world. Of course, he was a hardworking immigrant. And no, my dad, was able to like, do well for himself. But if I actually think about it, who's able to leave countries
So true.
and go to school? My dad is odd. He went to mechanic school. That's when my mom met him. But even the fact that he was able to do that, you have to have some means to do that.
Absolutely.
But he would never admit that. According to him, he, walked to school, 10 miles. He had to work the fields. Like, you know what I mean? He came here with one shirt. You know how it goes.
You don't think that's true, though?
No, it is true. Like,
Okay.
he was like that. But, like, he was also, if I think about the others that were left.
Right.
Way more of means than those particular people. But in an American context, I get it. Yeah, he came here with nothing.
Right. Absolutely. Why is everybody in Minnesota?
Oh, so that's where all the Liberians go.
Why?
That's what the U.S. government sends them? Because it's like refugee status? I don't know.
That's wild.
they
That's
be
like the
sending
whitest place ever.
But it's mad African, though. They sent the Somalis there. They sent mad Africans over there. If you go to Liberia, a lot of it's African. Like, yeah.
You mean Minnesota?
I mean, sorry, Minnesota. I'm like, wait, Minnesota is Liberia. No. No, but growing up, we used to go to my grandma's house, and she lived in Minnesota. So, yeah, it was like little Liberia there. There were like so many Liberians there.
So Minnesota is like the East Flatbush to Haitians is Minnesota.
Yes, and
to...
so over there, it's like this place called Brooklyn Park. Well, that's where they used to live. A lot of my family like moved out because Brooklyn Park's a little dangerous now. Apparently, the Black Americans moved in, but essentially... Sorry, I'm half Black American. I can say that. But essentially, that's where they all be. Yeah.
Have you been to Liberia?
So it's so weird. Every time I try to go to Liberia, something crazy happens, and then I can't go.
What?
It's like the craziest thing. So the first time I was supposed to go, like Ebola breaks out.
What the fuck?
And
Are you
then-
serious?
Yeah. So then I couldn't go, and then something else happened the second time. And I remember the third time COVID, and then Liberians weren't letting us in.
Whoa, you can't try to go to Liberia again.
They were saying
infectious disease is going to break out again.
But I was like, okay, we're not going to have this happen again. So I am planning on going next year. So hopefully nothing happens. Yeah, right. As soon as I go, like something
That's
crazy
all
happens.
infectious disease. You're like Ebola broke out, and then the bird flu broke out, and then COVID.
It's because my family didn't go back for so long due to the war. Then everyone started going back, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back. Ebola.
You still have family there?
Yeah, my few people like moved back. A lot of people have business there. Like people go back now. Yeah.
What language do they speak in Liberia?
So that's the thing.
What is that, a weird
So there's
question?
because they speak
okay.
English.
Oh, okay.
But there's a lot of tribal languages. But remember,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So your dad grew up speaking English?
Yeah, he speaks English, but like pidgin English or like very broken English, I would say. Yeah.
What do you think is like a super Liberian thing?
I don't know. It's just
Like specific to Liberia,
what's a super,
culturally?
What's a super Liberian thing? Well, I don't know because it's like everything's a little West African, you know. If I think about it, like I don't know. There's so many different things.
Like if you meet other people with a Liberian background, is there something you guys are like, oh yeah, you know?
Not one. I don't think there's one thing in particular. So a lot of us have this gap in our teeth.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
But that's like more.
That's wild.
But that's more of like a West African thing. You could do like an accent. I don't know.
And food-wise, it's like more West African than specifically Liberian.
It's a very regional. So when we think about fufu and soup, cassava leaf, I don't know, palm butter. These are all West African dishes, not necessarily like, oh, this is like the only thing you can find in Liberia. But also, I feel like hopefully I don't do a disservice because I am half Black American. So my other people might be like, bitch, that's not true. But to me, if I think about like neighboring countries, I don't think like to us, we think we have the best jollof rice, but everyone thinks that in Liberia. But yeah, a lot of us have the gaps. I think a lot of people identify with the Civil War. We did have I think it was like one of the first female presidents on the continent of Africa, but like a lot of people hate her. So I wouldn't talk about that.
Did you grow up like saying to people, I'm Liberian?
Yes,
Because
right?
you grew up in New York, for people that don't know or haven't fucking been listening to Meka's accent. But I feel like in New York especially, I grew up here too, and everybody is like very proud of whatever their background
the thing they are,
yeah.
So
exactly.
the thing about it is, I also grew up in Astoria, Queens, so there were no other Liberians. But I would talk about it. No one knew what I was talking about. Everyone just was like, whatever, African booty scratcher. That was the end of that.
What? They said that to you?
Are you crazy? It's everyone. There's no Africans in Queens, so yes, of course they said that.
Booty scratcher?
Everyone calls young African children African booty scratcher. It's like
I've never heard. Well, what is that?
You're not African. I don't know.
I know I'm not African, but what? I've never what does it mean?
I don't know. Just that's what they be saying. African booty scratcher. So they be saying that.
You're like, you're not African. I'm like, how come nobody's ever said it to me?
They be calling the booty scratcher, but now I don't know. I feel like it's different now. Like Afro beats or every African back in the day I could think of used to pretend to be Jamaican. Include not pretend to be Jamaican, but like I remember my dad only listened to reggae. He never listened to like West African music. But now Afro beats are so cool.
Right.
So there's a different persona I think now than when I was growing up. It was like being African was like nobody even knew what that meant.
But also you grew up in Astoria, which is pretty white though.
Which is a white place.
Yeah.
Well, it's white, it's Greek, it's South American.
Right.
So everybody was an immigrant except for the Black Americans. But I was like, well, actually.
Yeah.
I am partial immigrant as well. Yeah. Yeah, so I represent in that way. But yeah, I'm trying to think what's solely Liberian. Honestly, the politics and like that weird like American thing.
Right.
It's the weird American thing. That's what all the Liberians share. So the flag is red, white, and blue.
Okay.
Right? They have somewhere in Liberia called Maryland.
What?
Like literally Maryland, like we have here. There's a lot of continuity with the United States. Like it's like one of the longest democracies in the West, like on the continent. It's crazy. So that's the common thing.
Right.
Is this ever so American presence?
Did you, so basically because you were like, I'm also part immigrant. I think it's funny because a lot of people talk about like being embarrassed and wanting to fit in. And I think it's so funny that like growing up in New York, you know, I always say this. I always say in New York, we don't tell people from other countries to go back to where they came from. We tell people from Ohio to go back to where they came from.
Go back to your neighborhood.
You know what I'm saying?
Go back to Wisconsin.
Exactly. But like, it's like if you're not from somewhere else, you're not a real New Yorker.
That is kind of a thing too.
And that's kind of a thing. So I think it's so funny that growing up here, it's like flipped. Like you were like, excuse me, I'm an immigrant too.
Yes.
Like I fit in here.
I too have a cultural background.
That's so funny. I love that. What was it like growing up in Astoria?
I don't know. It's Astoria. What was it like? Growing up in Astoria was interesting, I would say. It was fun. I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
The Greeks are super racist, so that's a thing. But, you know, it was cool with them. Let's see. None of my friends' parents spoke English except for my mom. So we did a lot of, like, I don't know. There was a lot of, like, it's weird. I feel most centered in a place where there's a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
And no one looks the same. When people start looking the same, I get a little like, what's going on here?
Nervous. Same.
Like I don't.
100%.
So there's it's this weird thing. And also I feel very comfortable with people not speaking English.
Yes.
And then I do this like verbal hand thing because my mom would talk to my friend's mom. Like I don't know how the hell they were talking.
Yep.
But two of my best friends growing up, one was Korean, one was Ecuadorian, and basically there's full conversations and like there's a lot of hand movements, a lot of shaking the head.
Yes. But isn't it funny that also growing up in New York, you like understand accents so well?
Yes.
I never have trouble understanding someone with an accent.
No.
Sometimes like maybe an American.
Yeah, I understand
I'm
that.
like, what? But like accents. And then also, I don't know if you ever do this, but like I like pride myself on being able to like pinpoint where people are from based on
Are you
accent.
crazy? I do it based on how they look even, which is a little ridiculous.
I love that though. I can be like, oh, that's Morocco. Oh, that's Algeria. You know what I mean? Like I can tell like even those little differances. I'm like, I know exactly what an Argentinian sounds like as opposed to Ecuadorian.
Yeah, no, most. Well, it was interesting. I met this. I saw this guy at this party, and I was like, "Oh, are you Argentinian?" And he was like, "No," but I was like, "He's like, I'm from Ohio." I was like, "There's something in you." He was like, "My mom is adopted," and I was like, "There's no way you're just full on from Ohio."
You like uncovered this past he didn't know about.
You're not basic white. We can tell. Yeah.
You're like he's like, oh my God, I was adopted and I'm Argentinian.
I was like, there's no, yeah. So I do that. Actually, I met my first real American at, I think it was like age 12. Like that wasn't like a black American. Like in my family, it was like some white person. I met like a white American.
Yes.
Which I had never met. I was like, where are you from? No, where are you from? Like I was like, oh, you're American.
But how do you feel about the fact that now, like especially Gen Z and stuff like that, gets offended at where are you from?
I think it's stupid because in New York, we need to know where you're from.
I think it's stupid too.
We need to know where you're from.
Not only do we need to know where you're from, but this is what we talk about.
Yeah, like that's how we connect with each other.
That's how we connect, and we go, "Oh shit, Liberia, what's that like?" Or like, "When did you come here?" Or "How do you like it?" Or and then we get into the shitting on everything. You know what sucks? This sucks. Everybody sucks. And then we go, "I love you. Have a nice day."
Yeah, but I think Gen Z is like they don't. First of all, no New Yorker ever said that because we all need to know where you're from, no matter what generation.
Yeah,
like we need to know what nationality you're from. Is that like So Gen Z, go out here.
It's so true. I miss that's why I miss taxis. Like I don't ever take taxis anymore. But getting into a taxi would always be like, "Hi, I'm," and then it'd be like, "Where are you from?" And then he'd be like,
I'm from here,
Pakistan.
Yeah,
and then you'd be like, "Oh, what's that like?" Well, how long you been here? And then you talk, and like I said, then at some point, inevitably, you talk about how shitty the food is here, or whatever.
Or whatever and relative to that country. Like I went to this restaurant, that restaurant. This is like how you interconnect with. Well, we have to interconnect with the cultures. I think the rest of the country,
No, because they're in their cars all day.
Yeah, they're in their cars all day. They're not really talking to each other, so they don't know what's going on.
I remember when because I was 8 when we moved here. When I was 18, I moved to Germany to study there. And I had like a culture shock because everybody in my class was German. Just German. I'd be like, "Where are you from?" And they'd be like, "Germany." And I'd be like, "What's your dad?" And they'd be like, "German." And I'd be like, "What's your mom?" And they'd be like, "German." I'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
No, that's the thing. I used to be people being like, I'm Italian and Puerto Rican. From Bangladesh. Like I need it. I need the cultural
Right.
That's weird, moving to Germany.
It was weird. It was so weird. I was like, everybody is just German? This is so creepy.
It's a little strange to just be. It's also boring.
It's also a little bit boring.
So I feel sad for Americans. Like that's what happened to me when I went to college. I'm like, oh, you guys like have no diversity or like different people. I was like, it must suck to live here. America sucks. Yeah.
America sucks. New York is the best. Fuck you.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly. It is what it is. But no, I think that's why a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are like straight American or like, I don't know, let's say second, third generation American or whatever, and don't have that like direct immigrant experience or cross-culture experience, like it because they get to like hear about about what it's like. You know what I mean?
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's also more exciting. What I realized also growing up in Astoria, because there weren't any Liberians around, but there were a bunch of different cultures around. I realized all the immigrants kind of act the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, not like they all like. There's all these parties. It's so different from like the traditional American culture, but like immigrants similarly have the same activities.
Yes.
Like everyone has their own little community. Like we used to, for some odd reason, we go to everyone's like, not that my parents, they always go to funerals, whatever, but we would go to like everyone's.
Like random funerals? People they don't
it's just
know?
like, no, it's just like, there's a lot of Liberians, and so when someone dies, it's a big deal, so they go to a lot, because they're all so old, so they go to funerals a lot now. But it used to be like graduation parties and like weddings, like, there's a community where I feel like if you're just American, you don't really have that, but other cultures have that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that I grew up around. So I was like, I get this.
But also the communal thing is like a survival mechanism.
Yeah, you have to have it.
You have to have it because you come here, you have nothing, you only have one shirt and one shoe like
apparently,
your dad. You know? Why didn't you just take 2 shoes, Dad?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's definitely a thing. And then also, you know, like this thing about like the culture. I feel like the culture everywhere else in terms of hospitality and like warmth and generosity is very different than in the US. You know,
Yes,
like
yes.
like the way you treat a guest.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yeah.
and that's like a thing that immigrants have in common.
Yes,
you
like
know?
we always have that in Liberia households. You always have to have food ready, so no matter what happens, it's almost like if someone catches you off guard, you don't have food, so you always have someone always cooks something, so it's always
love
just
it.
available to be like, you come and you eat. But it's like that most cultures. Americans are different, you know what I mean? It's very individualistic culture.
It's very individualistic.
It's a lonely culture, honestly. It's very sad.
It is kind of sad.
It is very depressing, honestly.
No, it is. I agree. It's weird, and I wonder why that is. Because it was
Capitalism.
all immigrants that came here.
I think
You know
it's
what's so
capitalism.
funny?
It's capitalism.
I went to Mexico City last week, and I loved it. And I came back, and I landed, and got off the plane, went home, dropped my stuff off, and went down to McDougal Street to do a show at a club. And then I bumped into this guy, and who always like is like super smitten with me every time he sees me,
Yeah.
and like I could tell he has like a crush on me. It's fine,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's fine, it's fine. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, you know, like ding, ding, ding. And then I'm like, I just went to Mexico City. It's so fucking cool there. I love it. You know, it's so refreshing to be in a place where like capitalism isn't like so ingrained in everybody. And all of a sudden, like all the little hearts around his eyes like fucking turned into daggers. And he was like, and he's super American. He was like, I mean, you can't. What do you mean? You can't like say that. What are you, against capitalism?
It's
and I
like,
could
come
see, I like
on,
shattered
calm
his
down.
heart. I broke his heart. He hated me. Now I don't think he loves me anymore.
Well, you know, the thing about it is like American has a hyper capitalism, right?
Hyper-capitalism.
It's like insane. It's almost like they talk about late stage capital. Like we could think about American culture and how we operate. Like even the fact that we all want to be. It's just so we can sell more shit. If people aren't more communal, like you basically sell more shit to people.
So I was set up on this date that I didn't want to go on, but I went to be nice to my friend.
Nice of
and
you.
the guy said, I was like, what do you do? He was like, I work in crisis management at a corporation. I was like,
God.
okay.
Consultant. Anyway.
I was like, so what does that mean? Like, what corporation? He's like, a corporation. I was like, what corporation? He's like, well, it's pretty bad. I was like, what is it, pharmaceuticals? He was
Yeah.
like, no, it's bad. I was like, what is it? Like guns, weapons? What is
Yeah.
it? He's like, no, tobacco. So I go, oh, Philip
Oh.
Morris? And he goes, yeah, it's Philip Morris. And I go, oh, you know what? I've always wondered, like, do you guys like set aside a certain amount of money a year for like lung cancer lawsuits?
Yeah.
He got mad offended. And you know what he said? He goes, you know, people know that smoking is bad for you. A company's incentive is to sell more product. So, and I was like, oh my God. Capitalism is so far up your asshole.
No, it's true, it's strong. It's extra strong with the white men. It's their religion. What they gonna do? What they gonna do?
What they gonna do? What's a white man gonna do without capitalism?
I assume it's a white man.
It's such
I mean,
a white
that was
man.
a very white man thing to say.
100% a very white man to say.
Okay. Yeah, they love it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like that story with that guy who was so heartbroken, like I walked away and I started
Another
laughing.
white man?
No, the guy that was so heartbroken when I told him that the Mexico City thing.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
And I walked away, I started laughing, and I actually said out loud to myself, I was like, oh my God, don't take capitalism away from Americans. Like they fucking they
honestly,
hate it.
it's ingrained. It's what they love. Even when you could even tell Black American culture, which is traditionally more communal, is becoming more hyper capitalistic.
Yes.
I think Gen Z is trying to push back on that, but at the end of the day, this is the United States of America. It is what it is. Like we have a fucked up level of capitalism. It's not that I'm anti-capitalistic, because at some point, as a woman, as a Black American woman, there's something about working hard and getting rewarded for it. But the problem is our system is rigged.
Yeah.
And so if our system wasn't rigged, a lot of these white men wouldn't be winning.
And
they wouldn't be loving capitalism like this. So
true.
Because there's natural winners and losers in capitalism, but we rigged who the losers are and who the winners are. So it's sad. But yeah, why are they so hyped up on capitalism?
Why?
Yeah, why are they so hyped up on it?
I think because it's this promise of, well, you said it's rigged, but it's this like false promise of, if you work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
The bootstraps don't exist anymore.
Right.
Honestly, I think my dad's generation, that was the last generation to do that.
I think so. Our parents' generation.
Yeah. There's no way that there's no boot fucking straps.
There's
no boots. I got no boots.
There's no boots. The post-World War II generation, yes, absolutely. Because I think, though, that's because the world was kind of like on reset mode.
Yeah.
And everything was built new, kind of.
Yes.
And everything was kind of like fresh, innocent, virginized.
Yeah. And we went to extreme. Post Reagan, we go to extreme.
Right.
And now there's no boots, there's no straps.
No. So true. So true. But could you imagine yourself living anywhere else but here?
Other than New York City?
The US.
Oh yeah, I would leave this. No, I don't give a fuck about the U.S. New York is different. I would live in London though.
You could live in London?
Oh yeah, I love London. I would live in others. I love Mexico City. It's a great city. I would go to a lot of major cities in the world. Mm-hmm. I would not live anywhere else in the United States.
Right. No, that's impossible.
I don't make sense anywhere else.
No.
No one understands anything. But leaving New York is really hard
What
for
do you
me.
mean exactly? I mean, I know what you mean exactly when you say you don't make sense, but can you explain it to people listening?
It's just like, no, I mean, people love me, yes, but I would be annoyed. You know what I mean? Because like in New York, we have certain sensibilities. Mind your business, which no one does in the United States. Every time you leave the United States, everyone's, where you from? Where you go? Mind your fucking business. So there's that.
Yeah.
Also, like, I guess I'd be considered a little rude. I'm very direct, straight to the point.
Same.
People hate that.
Yes, people hate it.
Also, I need my cultural diversity. I need my Indian food on Monday, Colombian food on Friday, Mexican on Wednesday. If I don't have that, I went to school in West Virginia. There were no Asians. I'm like, where are the Asians? If I go somewhere and there's no Asians, I start feeling uncomfortable. Like I can't do that. Like I can't. Like I just need.
Yeah. No. 100%. I hear you.
Queens too, so I need that. Like.
Yeah, I hear you. I really, really hear you. And the rude thing is a huge thing because it's a tragic misunderstanding because we're not rude at all.
We're just very to the point.
We're very to the point, and we're actually very nice. We're actually a nice thing to be to the point. We're not wasting your time.
No.
We're being honest.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And also, my friend once laughed at me because I had this interaction with like a bus driver or something. And I was like, what the fuck? Like the buses are always late. And he's like, I know, what the fuck? This fucking shit sucks. And we were like, damn, everything, fuck the MTA. And then I was like, yo, have a great day. He was like, you too, sweetheart.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my friend was like, that's the most New York interaction ever. How did you go from being angry to like being best friends and loving?
Because we're in our anger, we're relating to each other.
Exactly.
We're all mad about things.
Exactly. And we're not afraid to have that side, you know?
No.
And we can be like, yo, you're a stupid idiot. And then be like, but have a nice day.
It's all good.
You know?
Yeah.
It's all good. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't do that anywhere else. So I can't.
Yeah.
I can't leave. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Meka, you started comedy like 5 years ago, right?
4.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you've had a meteoric rise, shall we
That's
say?
what they say. Okay, yeah. That's what they say.
Can you just tell us that moment that you decided that you're gonna do it? Because like you started later than most people in life.
I started like really late in life. I was like a nonprofit worker. It wasn't really like deciding to do it. I think it happened while I was on. So I took a class for comedy writing. I was forced to perform. I didn't necessarily want to perform.
But why did you take a comedy writing class?
I wanted to expand my writing. I'm a fundraiser, so I wanted to like write more convincing appeal letters. It's really stupid. I was just bored after grad school, if we really think about it. And I wasn't doing. I also wanted to meet boys. I thought there'd be boys in the class. No boys.
Oh shit!
All
you wanted
women.
to meet comedians?
I thought there would be like a nice way to meet
No
like.
offense.
All the reasons I did it, it's so funny. Like now looking back at it, I was searching for something. I was just a little like, and then I took the comedy and like now like comedy's like my big thing, you know?
Right.
So I'm not searching for anything anymore.
You're
But
not
it was
searching
just
for
what-
the boys anymore?
I mean, no, honestly, that's really bad with comedy. Actually, I haven't. I think you have to. I've traded dating in for comedy.
Right,
which,
right.
I mean, at some point you have to, unless you want to date comics, which I'm not doing.
No.
But essentially, it was this thing where I just like was bored. I wanted to write more appealing letters. I wanted to do something fun after work, kind of just like whatever. It wasn't for any. I didn't think this would happen.
Right.
And then you get that bug, and then I started going to open mics. You know, you slowly start going to open mics, and then you have to start going to open mics. And then like a year of doing that, I was like, oh, I have to get booked on shows. And then it's like, now I have to make it. Just as like, I don't know, it's just like this weird, you know.
I love that.
It's a weird thing. You get
Yeah.
that. But I never thought like, oh, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. I've been a lover of comedy my whole life. But I never thought of myself, I'm supposed to be like a nonprofit executive right now. Like I'm not supposed to be like in nightclubs at 12 a.m. It's a totally different. So yeah, my life just changed when I decided to take up comedy.
So basically, the lesson for people listening that have always like been interested is just do it and see what happens, see where it takes you, right?
Yeah, most
basically that's what
definitely.
you did. You just
That's what I did.
let it take you.
I let it take me in the pandemic because I did it. I finished my class December 2019. It's gonna be my anniversary, my comedy anniversary this Friday.
Oh shit!
But the pandemic, oddly, like we started working from home. I really had nothing to focus on. There were all these Zoom shows, so it allowed me to like focus a lot on comedy. And once I started doing it, I really wanted to be good at it. So
Right.
here we go.
Amazing. Did you grow up with any cool, funny like idioms or expressions that your dad would use from Liberia?
I don't know, like, so we're West African, so there's a lot of like, there's a lot of sound effects.
I love it.
There's a lot
Sound
of
effects.
sucking your teeth. There's a lot of like, I beg you. I don't know. He says a bunch of stuff.
What does that
I
mean?
have a horrible Liberian accent, so I actually don't want to embarrass myself online. If Liberians are you listening to this, I'm so sorry. He's like, I beg you. I don't know. This means like, I beg you. Like what? Like I don't. Oh, I do like this one thing. What does my dad always say? What does he say? Oh God. Yeah, he likes hard time business. So he talks about hard time. He's like, some people like hard time business. It's just like people like to do the things the hard way,
Hard
stuff
time
like that. There's a
business.
lot of like, my dad's actually very funny in a very insulting way. Like he
Okay.
always sucks his teeth at everyone. No one's taking very seriously. He always has something negative to say, but it's a joke. So it's like super duper funny. My mom is very silly. So actually, I don't know, it's weird. I guess some of my comedy is like a little bit of both of them. Like he always is a little negative and my mom's
Has
like
he-
really goofy.
Have they come to see you?
So my dad has not been to a show yet, but he watches all the online stuff.
Okay.
So he'll probably watch this.
Hey, Dad.
I didn't realize this until Thanksgiving. He was like playing my stuff and laughing, and because he had like surgery, so he hasn't been able to come out post and also post pandemic. He had the surgery. They like disappeared for 2 years. Like my parents like stayed in the house. I didn't even see them during the pandemic.
shit.
Whatever. They were like, we're not coming outside. But then he had surgery on his leg, so he hasn't been out. But he watches everything online and he's laughing. So I think I might start hiding things from him.
I love it.
I just don't want him in my business.
That's so New York. That's the most New York thing you've ever said in your life. You're like, I don't even want my dad in my business. That's how much of a New Yorker I am.
Like, yo, mind your business.
When we say mind your business, we mean everyone.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, all we have left now is to play the poll questionnaire. Meka Mo of Astoria, Queens, NYC, by way of Liberia. Are you ready?
Okay, I don't know what's happening, but go on.
If you were president of the United States of America, what American food would you ban?
Oh, wow. What American... hamburgers.
Oh, shit.
I think they're stupid. I don't really get it. Like,
they're stupid.
We have steak. Why do we need the chopped burger meat? Like, I don't... What is that about? Like, and I like... People...
You like sandwiches, though?
You know what? I like a hoagie. Like, you know what I mean? I like a sandwich. Like, I don't know, an Italian sub. I don't like or a turkey. I don't really like I don't need a hamburger.
Okay.
I just think they're stupid.
And you think men love hamburgers?
A lot of men that I've dated, maybe specifically, and the men that I'm friends with, like, they have no range of food. They, like, literally just eat burgers all the time. Like, It's literally like, I'm gonna have a burger. I'm gonna have a burger. It's like, how about you guys expand your fucking palate and eat something else? So I would take that away from them.
All right, cool. I love that. If you could deport one American person, who would you deport?
Oh, Donald Trump.
Perfect.
Easy.
Yeah. If you could add one face to Mount Rushmore, whose face would you add?
Ooh, that's a good one. Beyonce, for sure.
Nice.
Just because.
If
Houston.
If you could add one amendment to the U.S. Constitution, what would you add?
Ooh, this one amendment to the U.S. Constitution, what would I add? Let's see. That's a good one. I gotta think about this a little bit. Honestly, I would probably I might try to give the Native Americans back their land.
Ooh, so
they were
everybody's fucked. Yeah.
We're all fucked, but let them decide what happens. You know what I mean? I might do that.
I love that. Let them decide is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you would have to come up with a catchphrase for the United States of America, what would it be?
We're fat, but getting fatter. No, I'm joking. That's it.
What's the most New York thing you've ever done?
The most New York thing I've ever done was actually in London.
Okay, I love this.
So it's funny. We were dancing. We were just having fun with these British guys, and these Pakistani guys came up to us, and they were very annoyed that we were dancing with these British guys, which I didn't understand.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm not them. Anyway, this Pakistani guy smacks this British guy in the face, just smacks him in the face. And me and my homegirls are from New York. And keep in mind, we had just met these British guys. We don't know them from a hole in the wall. But you ain't fitting to smack some white dude I just started dancing with 10 minutes ago. So we start fighting with the Pakistani guys. Also, I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Now you fighting with us. And we shut down a club in London based off this whole big fight. Classic
I love that.
New York.
Represent.
Yeah, it's like, you ain't gonna do that to this random pansy British man.
Pansy.
He was a bitch. They definitely ran.
Funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, last question. Meka Mo, do you know how I can meet David Hasselhoff?
Oh my God. Is that why he's here?
Yeah.
So this is very strange. I know a lot of Austrians.
Oh, really?
And they love,
of course,
the
Germans and Austrians.
Yeah, they love the Hofstra.
Of course.
And one of them, I feel like he said he might have met David Hasselhoff before. I don't know if it's true though, because you know how they worship him? I don't know if it's true.
Yes, I worship him.
I don't know if it's true,
not
but
it's us.
You guys, I feel like if anyone knows, it's that Austrian man.
All right, let's call him after the podcast.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Meka Mo, where can people find you on social media?
Oddly, you can find me at Meka Social, so MEKA Social on Instagram. And then you can find me at MekaMoComedy.com. That's my website.
Dope. I love it. Meka with a K, Mo with an
M.O.
Oh.
It's your M.O. Meka Mo.
Relax.
Yeah.
What are you doing? This is easy. Look Meka up. Follow Meka. Watch Meka's stuff. Be like Meka's dad. Watch Meka's stuff. Okay.
yeah.
Go to her shows. Listen to her shit. Listen to her podcast. Meka Mo, thank you so much for being here
Thank you,
today.
Lucie.
Thank you to Tommy, producer extraordinaire. Thank you to all the patrons. You know who you are. JT, Gio, Wesley, Douchebag Steve, Joe.
Steve.
There's so many of you. We love you so much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to the new people. Thank you so much. Please give us a little 5-star rating and a review. It takes 2 seconds or maybe 10 or maybe 15. I don't know how slow you are. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hug an immigrant. Be nice. Be kind. Peace.